COVID has hit many sectors of business, but two specific services have gained huge traffic during the lockdowns: social media and digital payments. We can hardly imagine our lives without social media in today's world. And because of COVID precautions, many households have readily adopted digital payments. What if we tell you that you can make payments by social media posts? Well, Cree Club is turning this into reality. In today's episode, we're in conversation with Parth, who founded his startup Cree Club with two of his friends. He is an IIT Bombay alumni and believes that entrepreneurs need to focus on generating a rationale behind every action taken and every alternative foregone. So let's learn from his strategies.
Hi Parth, welcome to the VC Stories. So we are a platform that manifests entrepreneurial ecosystem, startups ecosystem to the outside the world. Okay, so for those who don't know you yet, can we start with your introduction?
Sure. Great. Hi, everyone. This is Parth. I'm a co-founder at Cree Club. At Cree Club, we are making India's first social payment method, which allows users to pay by social media posts at point of sale. So our aim is to actually automate and digitalize word of mouth marketing by bringing down influencer perks out in the market to remaining 99% of social media users who have small influence, but yet very impactful, as it directly comes from our friends and families with whom we are very closely associated with. So that's a brief about us and our firm.
Yeah, so great hearing about Cree Club. So I just wanted to know the idea process behind this idea. Like, how do you get to this idea?
Right. So first thing that I think it's a approach that people need to think about. It's not about the idea. It's about the problem that you are solving and for whom you are solving. So the bigger question to ask is not actually what your idea is. And that's the biggest question that's the first question that everyone in the VC industry, especially when you go fundraising, people ask for is, what's the problem that you are solving? Right.
Correct.
So idea can be multiple. If you have one good problem to solve, if you have one great insight to solve, you can have multiple solutions, and each of those solutions will be a revenue model for people. So question is that how can you actually essentially you're solving what's the problem that you're solving? So there's a very famous quote by Einstein that it's not about finding the solution. You can find a solution quickly. You just need to Google it in this world right now. You will find definitely a solution. What's the biggest challenge is that finding the right problem, reaching the right problem, going in depth and asking. So there's a very famous methodology which I like to use is that ask why about each and everything that goes through. So if I take about example about our journey that we started. So I was leading dramatic society in my college. Like when I was studying in IIT Bombay, and I worked with various film and media industry. I would say advertisers, publishers, production houses as well. So been in touch with multiple people, artists there. So we were just hanging out, and started asking like, okay, what all benefits do you work? What's the process that you go into? We think like, and so like as you see that we are in this space where word of mouth marketing, micro influencing, influencers, those would be the target audience that we will be having. So we actually started like, what's your process? It looks like that they live a very, very blessed life. They are the stars out there in the market. It's actually a myth when we actually hear their story. So like, it's not, they are struggling. They are struggling for a lot many cases, and there are a lot of you might be aware about agencies that's are there, especially in the marketing industry, right?
Okay.
So, and those are the people who are actually controlling I would say their portfolio, their PR, their brands, and they essentially drive businesses through for them. So there was a concern and need that came up that we started, okay, why don't you do this? Like, why don't you associate with this brand, or why don't you go with this further? Right. So they told me, okay, like these are the challenges that we face. We don't have direct contact with the brand. We don't, because it's majorly driven through a network. We need to go into a network. Like people who have less followers ask us to add into their network. It's a total network game. So it becomes like, okay. So we went back to brands then. Why don't you hire these people? They don't have access to them.
True.
So everyone have those challenges. When we ask, okay, why don't you have access to them? Then they talk about that this is the assets that I have. So at the end of the day, you need to go deep down into the root cause first. That essentially, first thing is that, okay, you great, you have an idea. Question number one, answer yourself, who is the exact customer for me? Get that customer, talk with him, just ask why, dude, why? Like, this is my idea. Look at his face, and you can totally get that, okay, does he like this or not? If he likes us, good. Then you also need to think around, okay, why did he actually liked about it? What was the thing that he liked about it? And essentially, especially like idea, like when I quoted term that you need to find the problem, right? It's because you adopt a new solution, you adopt a new app, you download a new app, you buy a new product. Because if until unless there is a dire need of a user, they won't buy it. Right.
Right.
There are a lot of reward apps. I would say there are a lot of products which serves both part. I would say one is solving a pain point and another is promoting a gain point. कि बाबा पेन पॉइंट है कि ये एक नीड है मार्केट की, ओनो मोमेंट है मार्केट का कि यार अगर ये चीज सॉल्व नहीं हुई तो हालत खराब हो जाएगी. फॉर एग्जांपल कोविड टाइम्स रिटेल स्टोर्स आर क्लोज्ड बिकॉज ऑफ लॉकडाउन. They needed to move to online stores like Dukaan, Dot Pay. They need to adopt these digital services. Why? Because they don't. It's their need now. कि बाबा अगर मैं आज डिजिटल नहीं गया तो मेरा सामान बिकेगा ही नहीं, मेरा कुछ धंधा आएगा नहीं, मेरी दुकान बंद हो जाएगी. So this is the product positioning of दुकान, which they did कि बाबा आपको करना पड़ेगा. And when people talk about what PMF is, that when people actually recognize that is a need and they need to do it. So this is about finding the right pain point. Second is around the gain point. That there is some particular activity is going on, पर मैंने user experience बढ़ा दिया उसका और वो adopt होना चालू हो गई. For example, these are the, I would say, the reward apps. This is more on the gain aspect that we play with. कि भैया हाँ आप ये चीज तो कर रहे थे, यहाँ से कर लो और मजा आएगा.
Right.
So, but if you see from a perspective of an, I would say, when even you do a business, right? So this comes up when you actually start tapping the right need of the people. When then people start looking, because this is a 50-50 game. हाँ मेरे को चाहिए, मेरे को नहीं चाहिए, it's okay. But यार ये नहीं हुआ तो मेरी जिंदगी में दिक्कत है. So that's the psychological mindset people need to take off. So in terms of idea generation, first thing is important is finding the right problem. दिक्कत किसको है, क्या है? Ask why again with the person. He will tell you exact problem what he or she is facing. Build a simple solution for that. Go bang in the market. If you see out, like I totally respect the players like Khata Book, Pagar Book. These are here, right? So what essentially Khata Book is a very simple app. It's a very simple app. It's not a rocket science solution, AIML solution. It's a very simple app. Because but the inside was core. कोई बही खाता मैनेज करने का ऐप नहीं था. And the beauty of having a simple product is it get adopts very fast. मतलब आज मैं एक दुकानदार हूँ, मुझे खाता बुक चलाना आ गया, वो इतना आसान था कि मैं बाजू वाले को 5 मिनट में बता सकता हूँ कि खाता बुक कैसे चला सकते हैं. वहीं अगर वो कॉम्प्लेक्स CRM हो जाता, ज़ोहो हो जाता एक तरीके से, तो बंदा तो बैठ जाता कि भैया इतना तो मेरे को आता भी नहीं, मैं क्या ही करूँगा. And these are natural छोटे solutions. These are very small solutions, but finding the right audience, right customer who is willing to adopt it, take it, use your service. So I was having one talks with one of my friends very recently. So he's also working on a semi startup away, and he legitimately actually showed me the request that is coming from his customers. कि बाबा ये ऐप पे ये चीज चल रही है, ये चीज हमको लगता है कि ये फीचर थोड़े अभी गड़बड़ चल रहे हैं, प्लीज आप इनको इम्प्रूव कर दीजिए और आप ये वाला फीचर भी ऐड कर दीजिए क्योंकि हमारी ये रिक्वायरमेंट है. एंड दैट्स द लेवल. I would say even from the customer side, customers are willing because of COVID. Customers have all the times. I would say customers in terms of both users as well as businesses have all the time in the world right now to explore what best solution that they can do. So they are trying out each and everything from their best heart. So if your problem is genuine, the person, your customer would feel it, will try your solution and also will help you. There is nothing like a 100% perfect product into the market. True, right? So it's about actually getting those. That's why you make a value into the market, right? And that's the difference that you create. कि बाबा मेरे यहाँ से क्या मार्केट में मैं ओवरऑल वैल्यू जनरेट कर रहा हूँ. That's the biggest
Right.
question.
Like, and seriously, customers these days are wanting more to like try new technology.
Right.
वो पहले की तरह नहीं है कि हाँ पहले की तरह थोड़ा करते थे कि नहीं यार how we'll adapt to these technology, but nowadays they want to adapt new technologies.
Right.
And as you rightly said, like, and I also believe that market is filled with the solution. Like, but what people's doing is like picking the solution and then finding a problem first, which is, according to me, it's not a good approach. You should first find a problem, like as you said, like customers are wanting to build something for them so that it will make their life very easy. But
Right.
people starting to do is like they introduce a thing and then pursue to the customers like you have to do this, you have to do this, and then finding the problem.
Right. Right. Absolutely. And what in life if we have is that हर जगह plug and play मॉडल चलता है आज के टाइम पे. APIs आ गई है टेक में, वो क्या करती है? प्लग एंड प्ले मॉडल है. राइट. सॉल्यूशंस बहुत सारे हैं. मैं बनाने में आज के टाइम पे मैं कुछ भी बना सकता हूँ, इधर से उधर करके इंजीनियर करके री इंजीनियर करके आई कैन डू इट. बट बनाना किसके लिए है? किसी ने आपको आकर बोला?
Yeah, that's the main thing.
So it's great that I definitely agree that there are a lot of ideas, and that's good. That's good. At least people are thinking in one direction or another. But capsulating, it should be communicated properly to the user. कि बाबा हम ये कर रहे हैं इसलिए कर रहे हैं. फन देने के लिए तो 10 चीजें हैं. अगर आप 10 के बाद में 11वें हो तो कोई अंतर नहीं है.
राइट. रिवर्स इंजीनियरिंग करके कुछ भी करके तुम बना सकते हो कुछ भी.
राइट.
Yeah, so very great about hearing this process. So the next question I wanted to ask this, from where this entrepreneurial spirit came into you, and at what point of the time you decided, yeah, you want to pursue the entrepreneurship?
So there are multiple touch points that I have personally felt. It all started with college. Definitely, IIT Bombay was a great platform for us to give that opportunity to actually give an exposure around. So I've been at the, I would say I've been in the dramatics also. I've worked, I've performed as theater also. I've worked in professional life as well. I've also attended these e-summits that were there by ECL team out there in IT. So it's about the exposure that we got. Ki haan, first thing, step one, getting know ki yes, there is something known as entrepreneurship that exists. Second trigger came for me personally, like when I was working in a corporate, I would say in professional world, I was working in a management consulting firm, and we used to interact with a lot of, I would say, C-suite executives who were there because of projects and all. And like one thing very interesting that I found out, that all of them like entrepreneurship mindset. We think that there is a difference between startup and corporates now these days, but it's actually not. Corporates are adopting this mindset and this culture very fast. You might have heard agile, digital transformation. All consulting firms majorly are working on these projects with the corporates. Funda being
Right.
everyone wants to be fast growing, everyone wants to be high growing. और मेरे को चाहे मैं एस्टेब्लिश कंपनी भी हूँ, मेरे को 10x ग्रो करना है, जो कि एक स्टार्टअप का गोल होता है कि अगर मैं स्टार्टअप आया हूँ मैं फटूंगा मार्केट पर. So that's the mindset that all of the people I've been carrying is entrepreneurial mindset. And the mindset, it's not about entrepreneurship, it's a total mindset कि बाबा मैं चीजों को इस तरीके से देखता हूँ कि हाँ मेरे को प्रॉब्लम दिख रही है, मेरे को फट से सॉल्व करना है. So I will quote like another example from my friend's experience. So he used to work in a, I would say, in a MNC bank out here, and one day his manager gave him work. It was manual. एक दिन किया भाई ने, 2 दिन किया भाई ने, तीसरे दिन भाई ने कुछ नहीं किया. भाई बैठा, भाई ने कोड किया, पूरे प्रोसेस को ऑटोमेट कर दिया. इस मैनेजर वाज शॉक्ड बिकॉज 2 साल से वो चीज वैसे ही चलती आ रही थी. उस बंदे ने कहा कि भाई मेरे को नहीं करना है, उस चीज को मैं क्यों कर रहा हूँ इस तरीके से, जब मेरे को पता है कि इसको इस तरीके से करके खत्म किया जा सकता है साइड में. इट्स जस्ट अ सिंपल माइंडसेट. उसने उधर अपनी जॉब में रहते हैं वो चीज की. एंड दैट गाय राइट नाउ रन्स अ वेरी सक्सेसफुल स्टार्टअप इन इंडिया. सो that's the thing that I realized, that it's about a mindset that a person carry, even if they are doing their job independently or they are doing their own startup. It's a first thing, it's a mindset. Second thing, when you take a leap of faith that I want to do it, then you become like, okay, अब मेरा journey start हो रहा है. So I would say these were the two triggers, and the final trigger for us that a couple of our close friends are already running uh, like their own startups, and we have been following like me, my flatmates and all also. So I've been closely working with the both ecosystem, I would say a corporate as well as the startup one. uh, it's a thing that everyone can explore, everyone should explore, irrespective of where they are coming from, what background they have. If you have something that adds value into the market, never ever shy to take a pledge to it. If you have that willingness कि बाबा मैं कर सकता हूँ, खुद पे भरोसा है इतना, तो तुम कर सकते हो. So that's the thing that over the time when you see कि हाँ, you step by step see कि पहले पता करते हो, you first acquire knowledge about it. Second, you get confidence by actually seeing कि हाँ ये चीज चलती है, ये चीज ऐसे करते हैं. Third is the step where you take the action. So these three were the journey that come up, and that's the beauty of the part. Like when you actually realize, खुद से realize करना, उस चीज को देख देख के समझना, and then उसको adopt करना, is the beauty of that part.
Yeah, right. As you rightly said, that do smart work rather than hard work.
Right. So
And startup ecosystem में यही है, companies like hard work करती है and startups smart work लेके आते हैं.
वही तो डिफरेंस कर पाते हैं. सबसे बड़ी चीज
Right,
रहती है
right.
who can create a difference faster. That's the biggest one.
They grow faster.
Faster.
Yeah. So when you were exploring the idea of Cree Club, so any loopholes you faced in our current startup ecosystem that you want, like, they should be resolved, or any idea, any problem you have faced?
Right. So first thing is startup. Doing a startup for the first time. One of the biggest challenge that comes up. It's not. I would say no. It won't be loophole in the ideas. I must say it's around lack of knowledge when you don't know how to actually start a startup.
Yes.
तो एक आइडिया जनरेट करना और एक स्टार्टअप चालू करने में बहुत अंतर होता है. क्योंकि स्टार्टअप चालू करना एक कंपनी है, राइट. आइडिया नहीं है, एक प्रोजेक्ट नहीं है, ना कॉलेज का प्रोजेक्ट है. यहाँ पे आप एक कंपनी चला रहे हो, यहाँ पे आपके साथ में लोग भी काम करेंगे, यहाँ पे आपके साथ में लोग चीजें भी करेंगे. So like for example, when we started, one of the things that we took a different approach when we actually started, and it got, I would say, it was not much appreciated in the market when we actually started taking the feedback. Reason was simple, that it was a very high CAC, high customer acquisition cost business that we were taking the approach with. And that was the feedback that we got from the market when we talked out in the market कि बाबा ये चीज करनी चाहिए कि नहीं करनी चाहिए. So first thing that people need to ask about and research about, not just about the idea कि ये चीज कैसे होगी. Second is कि about if I want to go out into the market, ये चीज अगर मैं इस तरीके से करता हूँ, तो मैं कितना खर्चा होने वाला है, कहाँ पे खर्चा होने वाला है, कैसे करने वाला हूँ मैं, क्या करने वाला हूँ मैं, किसी को हवा नहीं होती है. सीरियसली बता रहा हूँ, किसी को आइडिया नहीं होता है इस चीज का कि कैसे कैसे क्या होगा. अगर आइडिया होता, मतलब ये सारी चीजें अनफोल्ड होती है, क्योंकि आपको हर जगह हर जना कुछ अलग अलग तरीके से डील कर सकता है, आप पे उसमें अपने अलग अलग चैलेंजेस आ सकते हैं. So one of the first thing that comes up is that do your due diligence, I would say proper in terms of idea definitely, but also in terms of execution. If I go out and decides to do this into the market, कहीं मेरे को 4 महीने बाद पता तो नहीं चलेगा कि मेरा 1 लाख का फटका और लगने वाला है.
Okay.
Right.
And
So,
I guess that's where there is a gap between the person who's starting first time their startup and the person who's starting their second startup, because they know what are the loopholes.
right. So that's what people need to look out. And if you want specific, I will say that they need to look. First thing is definitely, what type of business you are? Who's your exact customer? That who's your target? I would say if it's a user, then what type of target segment it is. If it's a B2B business, that what type of customer segment in the business it is, and whom do you need to target out there. Before starting, just go out and talk to them. That's why. That's the biggest part, because you need to be clear about कि बाबा हाँ, सब सारे टिक अपनी साइड से तो हैं, हमको तो लगता है कि सब सही है, लेकिन सामने वाले से भी वैलिडेशन जरूरी है उस पॉइंट पे कि हाँ, this is right, can be done, that so,
like feedback loop.
Exactly. So it's I would say the loophole is actually the feedback loop is the solution to actually not having any loophole.
Yeah, very true. So as you were talking more about the customer acquisition and customer, how to get customer. So I just wanted to know, how do you approach in getting your first set of customers, and how one should approach this particular thing perfectly, or maybe somewhat approximately to the great level.
Right. So I must say this is this is a subjective question. It depends what type of business you are in. Definitely, is it a B2B business? Is it a B2C business? Approach that, like I would say that the general people. If I talk about both of the cases, so let's talk about in B2C first. That it's first is actually finding the right target group. Who, because you are going after massive millions of people.
Hmm.
किसको पकड़ूंगा पहले, किस type of, अगर if I need to go out in the market, I can't blindly go, which is the best suitable audience for me, whom I approach and give me a response. Like this is the type of feedback that I generally do, that I categorize them, hit them with the idea, check a level that what is the level of acceptance, and then identify कि okay हाँ ये 5 लोग थे अलग अलग, इन 5 में से इन 3 लोगों ने ज्यादा इंटरेस्ट दिखाया और उसके रीजंस ये है, इन 2 लोगों ने रीजंस ये बताया कि उन्होंने इतना इंटरेस्ट क्यों नहीं दिखाया. सो इधर से मेरे को और रिक्वायरमेंट्स आई, इधर से मेरे को पता चल गया कि दिस इज गुड, आई कैन कैप्चर दिस मोर, इधर का मैं इधर वो फीचर ऐड करके इधर भी कैप्चर कर सकता हूँ. So identifying first type the customer is first defining ki who actually are the customers, who would actually be using the, I would say, using the product that I have made. Same goes with the B2B side as well. But in this, your customers are limited. It's more of a vertical integration that happens with them. So for them, you just need couple whom you can grow, whom you can trust. Point is, because you need to make a very fine product for these niche set of people. तो उनकी एग्जैक्ट रिक्वायरमेंट्स क्या है वो लोग अपनी साइड से ऐड करते रहेंगे, बिकॉज दे आर आल्सो डूइंग अ बिजनेस एंड यू नीड टू एक्चुअली अकोमोडेट, बिकॉज यू आर एन इनेबलर टू मेक देयर बिजनेस मच बेटर, राइट? सो द रिक्वायरमेंट्स विल डेफिनेटली कम एंड फ्लो फ्रॉम देम. इन स्टार्टिंग व्हाट यू नीड टू डू इज हैविंग अ क्लोज सेट ऑफ नेटवर्क. फर्क नहीं पड़ता 2 3 4 5 जितने भी हो, अगर आपके उसमें एक भी क्लाइंट है, यूज दैट वन क्लाइंट, शो द रिजल्ट्स आउट इन द मार्केट, एक्सप्लोर. So
Okay.
these two are the both of the approaches of different. It's totally depends on what type of business you are, and point is both of them come to the same point. Who exactly is my customer? The question that we need to ask about the first customer set that we need to. Before that, who is my actual customer? I need to ask myself. Then I would approach them and then I will capture them.
Totally agree with you. Yeah, totally agree with you. Like every startup has a different approach and different set of customer, but the core is remain the same. Like how you approach your customer, rather it B2B, B2C, approach might be different, but yeah, core remains the same, right?
Right.
So yeah.
The core remains the same exactly. Like, so this is the question that they need to ask themselves. Everyone need to ask themselves, who am I selling to?
Yeah. Correct.
Get that answer and then approach.
Yeah, correct. So now as we talked about the idea generation, customer, and other things, so what is the right time to launch the MVP?
Okay, so right time to launch MVP, it's a very famous quote that as soon as possible. That like if you attend any of the point is there are multiple things. Ideas, मैं आपको एक आइडिया सुना रहा हूँ आज वर्सेस आप मेरा प्रोडक्ट एक्सपीरियंस करो. आपका यूजर एक्सपीरियंस दोनों में बहुत अलग हुआ. Everyone who is not me speaking have a lot of disturbance in their life, right? If I am discussing my ideas like startup, I would say startup product. You are making a product, then you are discussing a product, right? It's not an idea, right? So what will be a better thing for you? कि either आप मेरा पूरा प्रोडक्ट देखा यूजर एक्सपीरियंस खुद कर लो, या फिर मैं आपको समझाऊं कि वो मेरा प्रोडक्ट ऐसे चलता है. So even MVP, if not MVP, then at least users, like I would say, everyone need to have a prototype कि वो ऐसे चलेगा. अगर दिखेगा if it's an app तो ऐप का आप कोई दिक्कत नहीं, स्क्रीनशॉट्स भी रखिए. कई कंपनीज ने उस पर भी फंडिंग उठाई है, ऐसा नहीं है.
Okay.
बट पॉइंट इज कि सामने वाले को दिखता है जब कि बाबा ये हाँ ऐसे होगा. एंड MVP is I would say it's a subjective case. Like for us, it's a totally new thing that we are doing, right? Versus for a lot of startups, already there exists a use case which people use. कि बाबा ये चीज ऐसे होती है, हम लोग इसको इस तरीके से करके इम्प्रूव करते हैं. सो मार्केट नोस कि बाबा हाँ ये चीज की ये प्रॉब्लम है, इसको इस तरीके से सॉल्व करते थे, इन्होंने बेटर तरीका ले आया है. बिजनेस मॉडल ऐसे ही चलेगा, कोई दिक्कत नहीं. पहले भी लोग इसके लिए पैसा देते, अब भी लोग इसके लिए पैसा तो देंगे. वर्सेस व्हेन यू डू अ टोटल न्यू थिंग, देन यू एक्चुअली नीड टू मेक अ केस स्टडी कि बाबा हाँ ये चीज चलती है और ये चीज का रिजल्ट इतना इतना बेटर है उस चीज पे. सो बोथ ऑफ दीज केसेस कम्स अप. सो फर्स्ट थिंग डेफिनेटली अगर MVP नहीं है तो प्रोटोटाइप चाहिए, और सबसे पहले यूजर को दिखाना है. फर्क नहीं पड़ता है, मैं बोलूंगा this is a very famous line from a Y Combinator partner कि don't start making product until unless you are one of the customer talks about it. जब तक कोई तुमको आके ये नहीं बोल रहा कि बाबा हाँ मेरे को चाहिए, तुम पहली लाइन ऑफ कोड भी लिख दियो तुम पाप कर रहे हो.
Right.
क्यों? मतलब वो सिंपल बोलते हैं कि why if someone has said it they would definitely take it. Conduct a survey, get their inputs, finalize कि हाँ लोगों को ये चीज चाहिए, फिर बनाइए. एंड कीप इट वेरी सिंपल. जरूरी नहीं है कि MVP करने के लिए जैसे one of the example for a shoe company, e-commerce company was there, which the guy was actually taking all the orders. He was legitimately drop shipping it in .com era, and through that he actually made a successful shoe e-com company. Right? He started with that कि बाबा कोई दिक्कत नहीं, सब कुछ घर तक भी मैं डिलीवर कर रहा हूँ, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. लेकिन so that's the best part कि you first thing get the product out as soon as possible. That's the most important.
Yeah, correct. Otherwise जितना लेट होता रहेगा then competitor आते रहेंगे and then वो प्रॉब्लम ही होती जाएगी.
Right. और तो competitor का मतलब I don't see that as a challenge. It's competition is something that if it will come, it will come. If it won't, it won't. Right.
Yeah, ये भी सही बात है.
What people can do, like आप खुद पे भरोसा रखिए, right? कि मेरे को पता है कि अगर कोई कंपटीशन भी आ जाए तो मेरे को घबराना नहीं है उस चीज से कि बाबा कंपटीशन आ गया अब तो मैं गया. नहीं, कंपटीशन आया है तो मैं कैसे अंतर हूँ उस चीज से. हम लोग ऐसा क्या कर रहे थे कि कोई कंपटीशन ही नहीं आ पाए. व्हाट्स द बिगेस्ट डिफरेंस दैट वी हैव, दैट माय कंपटीशन डजंट हैव, एंड दैट बिकम्स द कोर ऑफ द कंपनी. फिर डरने की बात नहीं.
USP पे फोकस करना चाहिए ना अपना.
राइट.
Yeah, so like MVP लॉन्च हो गया and according to me like अगर मतलब आप सिर्फ अपना फोटोशॉप से भी बना के ले जाते हो स्लाइड, like you just have to convey your vision and your future, like how it should be look like,
right,
rather than कि उसको एकदम अच्छे से बना के ले जाना VCs के सामने and then फंडिंग उठाना.
VC I would say VC सब जने तब आ जाते हैं. देखिए, everyone is in a money making business. If you have a good product, VCs will also come. If you have a good product, the whole world will come for you.
Yeah.
Right. So
you don't have to pursue them.
Right. Exactly. What's at the end of the day, they also don't want to like engage with the people. Like everyone have a moat. कि वो मैं ये कर रहा हूँ तो मैं इसलिए कर रहा हूँ. And they bet on it, right? So that's the biggest difference. आपको कुछ नहीं करना, आपको खुद के बिजनेस पे फोकस करना है और कुछ नहीं करना है, बाकी सब चीजें अपने आप होती है.
Yeah, and in my previous podcast, I'm having with Mr. Omkar. He's the co-founder of Beehive. So, and he was also saying the same, like, don't, drop your bargaining power in front of VCs. Like they're trying to push you lower and like lowering your valuation or मतलब stakes ज़्यादा ले लेते हैं. So don't let them to do this. You have a product and because of you, their business is running.
Right. True. Like I would say there's a very big difference between business partnerships and investments. Right. Business partnership अगर होनी होगी तो वैसे भी होगी irrespective कि investment है कि नहीं. Because that's a total question on the business that's there. Versus on the other aspect, it's the other case where कि बाबा I know that what I am doing. right, I trust myself, I can build this, and I will build this, and I'm going to build this. If you want to be a part of journey, we would love to welcome you. And that's the same response. And definitely, I would say negotiation is a part and parcel of the deal. It happens everywhere. It's not that we, I would say, we don't negotiate with our clients. We also negotiate with our clients, like how investor negotiates with us. So it's both part and parcel of the journey that comes up. But हर चीज का right, like you should, like I would say, if you have right arguments to place, no one, like I would say, then it's all about the negotiation, that how do you drive the negotiation. It can all be justified as well, it can all go to trumble as well.
Yeah, then it's properly depend on your negotiation skills, right?
True.
Yeah, so like MVP ho gaya. So I just wanted to know, how do you build your pitch deck? Like how do you approach, and what are the essentials you want that are now after raising money and after selecting into 100x class 4, and congratulations for this. And so I just wanted to know the essentials one should put into their pitch deck, so that it increases their chance, or if not then, but it should look like a presentable.
Okay, so I must say, first thing, like this is I've personally presented to a lot of executives as well in my professional life. uh, Presentation is something, it's not like a prompter reading, it's a story that you tell, it's a way of communication. कि बाबा आप एक कहानी बता रहे हो उनको, जहाँ पे आपने हर कहानी के चैप्टर पे सामने वाले का एक वर्चुअल साइन ऑफ लिया है, जहाँ पे वो बोला है कि हाँ ये मेरी प्रॉब्लम है, वाह ये एक सॉल्यूशन है, बहुत सही, तुम इसको इस तरीके से सॉल्व कर रहे हो, बहुत बढ़िया, अच्छा तुम इसको इस तरीके से पैसा कमा ले रहे हो, अच्छा इसका ये मार्केट है, अच्छा उसमें तुम इतना कमा लोगे, मैं इसको इस तरीके से अप्रोच कर रहा हूँ तो मैं मार्केट में सबसे पहले फटूंगा. सो इफ यू सी माई स्टेप, ये कहानी है जो मैं पिच में प्रेजेंट करता हूँ, एंड आई virtually take an acceptance on ki ha these are the step by step. So first thing, presentation is nothing but a story that you tell out into the market. There is a very standard template that comes up, and that we need to, I would say, we need to follow, we can follow. It's a very standard template, and it's a very good template. Step 1, what's the problem that you're solving? Step 2, what's the solution? Step 3, how your product uses that solution to do it. Step 4, how big is the market? Step 5, how will you earn? Step 6, what's the total revenue potential or business potential for you? Step 7, why now? Abhi kyun? Step 8, what's my go to market? And step 9, what's the team that is delivering? It's a simple, I would say, मैंने स्टार्ट किया कि प्रॉब्लम क्या है, मैं कैसे सॉल्व करूंगा उसको, ये मेरा प्रोडक्ट है जो कि इसको इस तरीके से बेस्ट तरीके से सॉल्व करता है, मैं इस चीज से इतने बड़े मार्केट को कैप्चर करूंगा, इतने बड़े मार्केट में मैं हर जगह से इतना इतना अगर पैसा लेता हूँ, दैट्स अ बिजनेस मॉडल, तो मेरा इतना रेवेन्यू पोटेंशियल होगा, इस रेवेन्यू पोटेंशियल को लेने के लिए मैं मार्केट में इस तरीके से एंटर करूंगा, इस स्ट्रेटजी से एंटर करूंगा, एंड these are my targets over that time. And last but not the least is around ki baba, this is the whole team that would be delivering. So there are multiple checkpoints like that everyone come up with, they check ki like if you see this is the flow, and the investor, like the person who is actually looking at the pitch, they will also feel the same thing. First they will start looking for the first thing, क्या ये problem सही है, अच्छा वो problem सही थी, क्या ये solution best है जो ये लोग कर रहे हैं, अच्छा अगर ये सॉल्यूशन बेस्ट है तो क्या बेस्ट तरीके से ये प्रोडक्ट पे कैप्चर कर रहे हैं कि नहीं कर रहे, जो इन्होंने मार्केट बोला है क्या ये इतना बड़ा मार्केट है कि ये लोग फट के एक यूनिकॉर्न बन जाएंगे कि जिसमें मैं इन्वेस्ट करूं, राइट? अगर ये करते तो क्या ये इनको बिजनेस समझ में आता है, इनका बिजनेस मॉडल क्या है, अगर बिजनेस मॉडल यूनिक है तो गुड, अगर बिजनेस मॉडल कोई एग्जिस्टिंग यूज केस का आ रहा है, वेरी गुड, बिकॉज इन्वेस्टर हैव अ कंफर्ट, दे नो कि हाँ दे ट्रस्ट दैट बिजनेस मॉडल, कि हाँ ये मार्केट में बिजनेस मॉडल चलता है, सेम बिजनेस मॉडल पे ये लोग ऑपरेट करेंगे, लाइक हाउ एयरबीएनबी हो, होटल बुकिंग पहले भी होती थी 15% कमीशन पे, एयरबीएनबी के बाद में भी होती थी सेम कमीशन बेसिस पे, तो इन्वेस्टर्स वर कंफर्टेबल कि हाँ ये बिजनेस मॉडल यहाँ पे भी चलेगा. सो व्हाट इज देयर इज दैट दे आर जस्ट टिकिंग आउट कि बाबा हाँ ये एक नीड है, ये एक नीड है, ये एक चीज है, ये एक चीज है, ये एक चीज है, ये एक चीज है, and that story need to be conveyed. That's the simplest, I would say, simplest story that anyone can tell about their business. कि ये प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व, ये है प्रॉब्लम, ये दिक्कत है, इसको सॉल्व कर रहा हूँ, इस तरीके से कर रहा हूँ, इतना पैसा कमाऊँ.
या मेरी भी मतलब हमेशा सेम ही अप्रोच रहती है. लाइक व्हेन आई हैव स्टार्टेड दिस द वीसी स्टोरीज, तो जो मैं आर्टिकल लिखता था, आई ट्राई टू राइट इनटू अ स्टोरी फॉर्मेट. लाइक अगर मैं किसी XYZ स्टार्टअप के ऊपर लिख रहा हूँ, सो रेदर देन जस्ट उसका डायरेक्टली बी मॉडल, रेवेन्यू सोर्सेज एक्सेट्रा बताने की जगह, आई एम स्टार्टिंग विद दिस हिस्ट्री, कैसे वो शुरू हुए, कहाँ है, मतलब प्रॉपर एक स्टोरी फॉर्मेट.
Right.
Yeah, so that's a very great thing to attract and to lure customer attraction so that they can feel attached to this whole blog or articles.
Right.
Interest थोड़ा बना रहता है.
हाँ. आप
Yeah, so last 4 minutes.
Yes.
Then we'll close. So I just wanted to know how you approach that you have to raise X amount of money.
Right.
So how one could decide, yeah, like I just wanted to raise 10 CR or 1 CR or 10 lakhs, whatever the amount. So any parameters you could give? I know this is also proper subjective.
It is proper subjective, but I must say, someone if starting and they are working, they would be able to capture it. This answer lies in their own, I would say, in their own problem statement in business. How much money do I need? मेरे को मार्केट से कितना रेस करना है, क्या करना है. सिंपल, अगर मेरे पास में मेरे को पता है कि अगले 1 साल में क्या करने वाला हूँ, I need to make these products, I need to reach these customers, I need to acquire these many clients, I need to onboard these many customers. If this is the plan fixed, now we ask ourselves, how will I do it? How can I do it? What are the different ways to do it? And then third, if I do via this method, what's the cost that I would be incurring? So it's a pretty simple amount, that how much money do I need? It totally, I would say, totally subjective. As you mentioned, yes, it's subjective. But person who is actually running and raising their business, they would be able to answer it. Why? Because they know about their business, what they are doing essentially. If they don't do, then they need to go out into market. They need to go out to people, to talk with people who are running similar business, ask for their guidance कि बाबा आप भी एक ऐप बिजनेस बनाते हो, आप भी एक ऐप बिजनेस चला रहे हो, मैं भी एक ऐप बिजनेस चला रहा हूँ, आप एक कस्टमर को कैसे एक्वायर करते हो? वो बोलेगा मैं गूगल एड से करता हूँ, इंस्टाग्राम एड से करता हूँ, या फिर मैंने रेफरल प्रोग्राम चला रखा है, हम ऐसे ये वाला मॉडल चला देते तो यूजर्स आ जाते हैं. सो यू गेट टू नो द हैक्स. और जब आपको हैक पता चलता है, तो आप उसका एक कॉस्ट जो उनका लगता है, आप वो भी जान लेते हो उनसे कि आपको पर कस्टमर आने से इतना पैसा लग रहा है. मेरे को पता है कि मेरे को 1 लाख कस्टमर्स करना है अगर ईयर एंड पे, तो 1 लाख कस्टमर को अगर मैं हर कस्टमर को 50 रुपए भी देता हूँ, तो मेरे को 50 लाख रुपए लगेंगे एज अ कस्टमर एक्विजिशन कॉस्ट.
Yeah, I mean, this approach is very right. So
person also need to take care of that, no? Because he or she is doing the business, they need to be aware ki baba, how would I actually run the business?
Yeah, so last 2 minutes, so any parting advice you want to give to our listeners?
I would say that if you have a dream, if you want to do something, go out into the market, do it with full heart, solve one problem at a time, reach to your customers as soon as possible. They will guide you, they will show you the way, they will make your company as well, and they will use your company as well. So start co-working with the customers, go out and explore. That's
a very really insightful advice you have given us, and that's a really very insightful session we have to you, and we really look forward to having more sessions with you in future, and you guide our listeners more with your experience you're gaining through your journey.
For sure. Yeah.
So welcome abroad, welcome to the VC story.
Looking forward to it. Same here, pleasure.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Bye. Take care.
Bye.